Don't be too rough, okay? All right, hey
Oh, what's the
everybody.
title gonna be?
I have no idea right now, but
Guess we'll figure it out.
yeah. But what's up, everybody? Welcome back to our YouTube platform, Uplift past Crossroads. We got Justin Lee Howell back for another video. All right, so Justin, he ain't been with us in a minute, but I know he'll reconvene with us. Justin, I gotta tell you, man, my worst nightmare was you never coming back to the platform.
Oh man, sorry. The dad, yeah, it wasn't even the dad life that kept me away. It was just a headache that's been coming around on and off for a couple of weeks.
hmm
I just don't think I could have done a solid video. I can concentrate very well, but man, I'm glad to be back.
Oh yeah, like we got a treat for you guys today. So you guys know I love having Justin on our YouTube platform, man. Like our YouTube channel would be nowhere near where it is without him because he's done so many videos with us, right? And you guys know we do ministry together. So this is our 562nd video actually. So because one's about to post tonight, but with Justin, this is our 117th video together.
Oh
So if you
man,
want to support him, you can go to his YouTube channel, Chaplain Logs. I need to go ahead and put that in, but that's his YouTube channel. All right, so I got to pull that up. I had to deactivate my other what's this called keyboard. I had to deactivate my other keyboard because my son he likes typing on it. So I ain't want him to mess up the video or anything while I do it with you guys. But
that's
yeah,
good.
Justin.
Starting young.
Yeah, Justin's YouTube channel is Chaplain's Log. But all right, so you guys know for seminary school, I got a playlist. I'll show you guys. Yeah, yeah, Zion. I'll show you guys that playlist later. All right, so but I got a playlist on our YouTube channel, Upper Past Crossroad, titled Seminary School, and that's where I do videos that's tailored towards assignments and stuff like that, or just reflections that books I had to read for seminary school. I'm getting my Master's of Divinity at Colgate Rochester Culture Divinity School. And so I'm actually, for today's video, we're going to review an article I had to read for class on the story of Dinah in Genesis 34. So I
Mm.
guess we can read a little of Genesis 34 starting off, Justin, just so
Yeah.
everybody knows where we're coming from. But I'm definitely going to read the article, some parts of the article. I'm not going to read all the article. I don't know, Justin, did you take any notes on this article?
I don't think I took any physical notes. I just read it yesterday when you sent it over, and
Okay.
a little this morning.
All right. No
But yeah,
worries.
all most of mine are like mental notes, and that yeah, I feel like I had a few things to say about it, so I think I remember it pretty well.
All right, cool. Yeah. It's fresh on your mind, I guess, because you just read it. All right.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna read some of Genesis 34. I'm just gonna probably read the first couple of verses because that's pretty much where the article focuses in on, and then I may find other parts to read for where the article is gonna be talking about. So yeah, before I go to reading the Bible passage, the article we're gonna be reviewing is by Lynn M. What you say her last name was? Because you said it good. I think Bechtel.
Bechtel.
Yeah, Bechtel. All right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and the title of her article is titled "What if Dinah is not raped?" All right. And so let's read Genesis 34, and you guys tell me your thoughts on Genesis 34, right? And I'm reading from the New International Version Bible. So now Dinah, the daughter of Leah, had born to Jacob, went out to visit the woman in the land. When Shechem, son of Hamor the Hivite, the ruler of that area, saw her, he took her and raped her. His heart was drawn to Dinah, daughter of Jacob. He loved the young woman and spoke tenderly to her. And Shechem said to his father Hamor, "Get me this girl as my wife." When Jacob heard that his daughter Dinah had been defiled, his sons were in the crops, in the fields with his livestock, so he did nothing about it until they came home. Then Shechem's father Hamor went out to talk to Jacob. Meanwhile, Jacob's sons had come in from the fields. As soon as they heard what had happened, they were shocked and furious because Shechem had done an outrageous thing in Israel by sleeping with Jacob's daughter, a thing that should not be done. But Hamor said to him, "My son Shechem has his heart set on your daughter. Please give him her. Please give her to him as his wife. Intermarry with us. Give us your daughters and take our daughters for yourselves. You can settle among us. The land is open to you. Live in it, trade in it, and acquire property in it." All right, I think that's a good stopping place.
Yeah.
I yeah. you can give a summary if you want, Justin, because you're really good at that. But I was just gonna say the rest of the stories. The brothers of Dinah got mad, and they told the Shechemites, so the people that with Shechem, if you guys want to do this, then you guys got to the men have to circumcise themselves, and then so the men circumcised themselves, the Shechemites, and Simeon and Levi just wanted them to do that so that they could slaughter all the men, and so that's what they did, slaughtered all the Shechemites, so that no intermarriage could happen and stuff like that. Okay, if you give me a second. What a thing. He's distracting me.
Yeah. he's just busy.
Right. Look at his face.
Him, buddy.
Did you want to finish the story, Justin?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because well, maybe I shouldn't add my own opinion yet. But yeah, after like because like when all the men like circumcise themselves, of course they're like in pain for days.
Yeah.
But it was like Simeon and Levi, I think, were Dinah's brothers.
Mm-hmm.
They did it under the guise of you can only marry Dinah if like you become God's people and you have to circumcise yourselves because that's what God's people do. But yeah, as he said, like they only did that so they would be in pain for days and then attack them when they were at their weakest.
Yeah. And I
Of
meant to
course,
say, and they took the women and children after they slaughtered the men, the Simeon and Levi. So they added those
yeah.
people to their tribes, but not the men. All right.
Right. And
So
of course, like Jacob and God were both very upset with what Simeon and Levi did.
yeah.
And they defended themselves by saying like no one treats our sister like a prostitute. Paraphrasing.
Yeah. And so that's what the article is going to talk about. Everything we just covered. All right. And so there's other parts of the story we could have focused in on. We'll probably do that on the next video. But we're just going to focus in on what this writer, this scholar,
The very beginning, yeah.
this literary person, this scholar focused in on. So again, she titled the paper, "What if Dinah is not raped?" Genesis 34, right? And so a summary of it. So I'm going to give some main points of the article. So these are really just the author's thoughts. So she thinks that Dinah is not raped, and she thinks that the sons of Jacob are just militant folks threatened by the impure outsiders, so the Shechemites, and Jacob's sons only want to maintain a strict group purity and absolute separation. And so in her writing on page 31, she gives her main point as well when she says the emphasis in the text on wanting to get acquainted, nonviolent, giving and taking, bonding, professing love, honoring, and cooperating cannot be ignored. Throughout the text, there's no indication that Dinah is raped. The description of Shechem's behavior and attitude does not fit that of a rapist. It is not correct psychological context of rape. What type of rape? All right. And so we're going to come back to that, like, because she gives her opinion on what rape is. And you know what? I'm going to just go there now, right? And then I'll talk about, like, some main points that she gives.
Yeah, because I kind of wanted to speak about like, I want to speak about that as well because she kind of digs into the psychology of it, which I'm not entirely sure if I agree with, but we can let's dig into that if you had some things to say about it.
Here it is right here. So on page 29, on page 21, she talks about that further. She says on page 29, psychological studies reveal that rapists feel hostility.
Sociological.
Oh, yeah, sociological. Appreciate it. Studies reveal that rapists feel hostility and hatred towards their victims, not love. All right. And then she says on page 21, although rape is a sex act for the male, the primary motive for rape is not intimate sexual pleasure or pure sexual release. It is instead an exploitative act that silences the male's feelings of vulnerability, inferiority, and lack of control, which in individual-oriented societies are considered feminine and therefore unacceptable for a male, by creating the illusion of power, control, dominance, and superiority. So first off, I know me and Justin are on the same page with this. I don't think she gives enough credence or evidence, scholarship, like, she doesn't really cite her sources when it comes to her thought process of like what are the motives or intentions of a male that rapes somebody. right? Like that's an opinion that she gave on page 21 for sure. Page
That's surprising,
29,
man.
yeah, page 29, she gives some type of, you know, credence, evidence right there, but not to page 21. Like, first of all, I think she's a woman, like Lynn Bechtel, and then yeah, so she doesn't know the intentions of a man,
I
the
do
heart of a
feel
man
like
that raped somebody.
I do feel like yeah, I feel like for a lot of cases of rape, it's like it is due to a lot of like sexual urges they can't control.
Hmm.
I mean, I can kind of see how like it gives them a sense of superiority and power when they do it, but I don't think like at least from cases like I hear, it's not to like cover up their feelings of inferiority. I feel like from a lot of rapists who are jailed or a lot of people who are like caught, it's because like they had like these sexual urges that they couldn't control. So
Right.
I feel like I feel like maybe she's digging too much into the psychology of it, you know?
Yeah. And that's another thing too. I think she does that to her detriment. Like she focused so much on that she misses out on what's really occurring in the
Mm,
text, or what is occurring between Shechem and Dinah, right?
mm,
Um, yeah. So I mean, you guys see where we're going at with this. So we
yeah.
want to point at. Yeah, go ahead.
Cause I think she was reasoning that rapists don't feel love for their victims, and because Shechem showed that like it was said that he loved Dinah, like I feel like a lot for, and I'm not a sociological expert, so I can't say for sure, but I feel like there could be like a lot of cases, like a lot of rape cases where they they might think they're in love with the victim, like it's a mutilated love, and they think
Mhm.
that they have to have them.
Right.
And this could very well be like the same case for Shechem, in that he did like kind of have a un like an unhealthy love for Dinah, and he approached her in like absolutely the wrong way.
Right.
And I did read some like other commentaries before the video that said like um the way that it's worded could make it seem that Shechem did not use as much force as he did, like maybe he surprised her, but it still caught Dinah like off guard, I think.
Right.
So it was definitely not, doesn't give the context of being like consensual at all. But
Hmm.
yeah, I think a big part of her argument is like, oh, rapists don't love their targets. So since Shechem loved Dinah, it's like I don't know if any the man. I'm sorry, I don't know what direction to go to. There's just so much to say about this.
Just say it. Yeah. Go ahead.
Any love that is apart from God is going to be broken in some way.
Mm.
So even if like Shechem says that he loves Dinah, like he did not approach it in the proper manner.
Right.
So even if he did like force himself upon her, Bechtel can't just say from the article, oh, since Shechem like loved her in his own way, it was not rape. Like that's not how that works.
Right. Yeah, we're about to go in a lot of places. I know we're going to hit on this again, like
Yeah.
throughout, and I think that's basically what we're going to be proven, like, well, disproven with her article. Just focusing on that point for the most part. Um, but yeah, let me go ahead and get to it. My son messed up
Mm.
my whole monitor and stuff, so I'm trying to
Okay.
get it adjusted.
Just doing his best.
Yeah, like I can't even get it to stay on track to like even move.
Oh, really, man?
So, yeah.
I was curious. Yeah. I was thinking, man, I should have Cirilla on these videos too. Maybe not.
Yeah, right. They messed up everything. All right, so let's go to the next part. So on page 36, so this is an abstract of what she's trying to convey in her article. It's at the very end. So this is a summary of what she's trying to say. So it says from a modern and predominantly individual oriented perspective, it is assumed that Shechem rapes Dinah. But it did but is this what the story intends to portray? So according to her, she don't think that's what the story intends to portray. So the conclusion, after a careful analysis of the story and its group-oriented dynamic. So if you see things from a group-oriented dynamic way or group-oriented perspective, is that Dinah is not raped. Instead, the story portrays Dinah and Jacob as folks who are interested in interacting with outsiders, Shechem, Hamar, and the Shechemites that show allegiance to the group values and customs, but Simeon, Levi, and the sons of Jacob are militant folks who are threatened by the impure outsiders and want to maintain strict group purity and absolute separation. The story challenges this isolationist attitude by showing its potential danger for the overall group. So according to the author, like what she's going to be saying throughout her paper is most of the time we view things from an individual oriented perspective, especially in today's modern day society, and especially when we're interpreting scripture. So if we do that, we're going to see things from a different lens, which is basically assuming that, Shechem raped Dinah, assuming that, yeah, Simeon and Levi were wrong, but, who was more wrong? Shechem was, because he raped Dinah. Like, the Shechemites were evil and Canaan. So, like, that's an individualistic type of thinking, and she's trying to tell us you got to see things from their perspective, back in their customs and their time period, which is they look at things for the overall group perspective, not an individualistic type of world. And so we look at things from their perspective, from a group oriented perspective. We're going to see that Dinah is not raped. Dinah and Jacob are interested in interacting with outsiders, Shechem, Hamar, and the Shechemites. Also, we're going to see that, Simon and Levi and the sons of Jacob are only militant folks, threatened by impure outsiders and want to maintain strict group purity and absolute separation. And so the story challenges, the isolationist attitude, showing the danger of the potential danger for the overall group, with the isolationist mentality. All right. And Justin, just stop me if you want to say anything, but I'm about to get to different parts of the article.
I'll say something really quickly.
Yeah.
I do agree with her that you do need to like take the cultural context into play, because man, we say that during like a bunch of videos. Like,
Yeah.
what's the context of the verses we're looking at? And especially with Middle Eastern texts, like past and present, like you even see it in present articles, there's always a big group mentality. So that is like how the individual grows is not for the benefit of the individual. It's always in the context of being the best individual you can be for the benefit of the group.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's a pro and con for like a lot of reasons. Like, it does go into like God's idea of what a good healthy community should be. Like, you work
Yeah.
towards a group. So I don't disagree with her like approach for that, but I don't think it really helps what she's trying to support. And I guess we can go further into that.
Yeah, I agree. Like anytime we've done it on videos, like it's always in the New Testament for the most part. So we never really done it for the Old Testament, and maybe that's where it differs. Like, like from in the article, we're gonna see. I think it's gonna be understood that it just doesn't make sense. Like what she's trying to convey, and I think because she used the wrong approach, was her approach for this whole paper, and why she came to her analysis and conclusion, like she said, she did everything from a group oriented perspective. But I think that when you do that, you just miss out on and ignore and gloss over, like, certain things that's going on in the text and certain
Mhm.
actions that happen from individuals, right? So like for example, from a group oriented perspective, she focuses in on Simeon and Levi's actions. But okay, but you completely deny, the pros and cons of the actions of Shechem and Dinah, for example, right? You
Right.
just see the pros of it, right? But you only see the
Yeah.
cons of Shechem and Levi's actions, right? She
Mhm.
didn't say the pros of it. So, like, just doing that, it can lead to, warping certain stuff. And I'll just say that, like, I'll just go ahead and say it. So, like, some weaknesses with our article before we even go there, the ethical issues raised by Bechtel's approach include the potential trivializations of sexual violence if Dinah's experience is interpreted as consensual. So, like, she
Mhm.
sees, yeah, it's the first time I see this interpretation of Genesis 34. She sees Dinah's agency, so she gives Dinah agency, which I didn't know what that meant, but like I just take it as meaning like She sees Dinah as a person that makes her own decisions, her own choices, which nobody ever does in interpreting Genesis 34. Like I've never seen that. Like Dinah literally chose to go out, which she's gonna say in her article. Like she put it upon herself, which they say that about rape victims, right? But she goes further in saying like Dinah literally was trying to do something for the whole group that the whole group didn't want, which was bringing unity and bringing people together, bringing outsiders to being insiders for once, bringing unity, right? So like
Mm.
Ghana was doing something that okay, we'll just wait to get there. All right, so like so this could lead to harmful narratives that diminish the seriousness of consent and
Mm.
the realities of sexual violence, right? Which is what her approach does. So following her approach without critical engagement may per- perpetrate misunderstanding about agency and victimhood, right?
Mm.
And so then also the major argument. So these are some major gaps in her argument. So the major argument of Bechtel's work is that interpretations of Dinah's experience must consider her agency and complexity of her relationships and with men involved. However, the article may miss a thorough exploration of the broader implications of the patriarchy and the systematic violence against women in the biblical context. Bechtel may not fully address how these things resonate in contemporary discussions about gender and power dynamics. So, like, this is how much stuff she's glossing over. Like,
Mm.
and it's stuff that we cover if you like really exegete the text, especially with the Greek words that we come across. But like again, she glosses over some of these Greek words and then she focuses in on other Greek words. That's probably coming with the original words. Well, not Greek, Hebrew words that you guys see what I'm saying. Like it's just a lot going on with this article. We're about to read it,
Mm.
but all right, let me make sure I said everything I want to say though. Okay, yeah. So some common interpretations of Genesis 34. So what are some predominant perspectives? So this is what she goes against, the predominant perspective. So predominantly individual oriented perspective, right? So that's how we see it. We don't look at it from a group oriented perspective, which is what she's gonna do. We automatically assume that Shechem rapes Dinah. All the males in the story treat Dinah as an object. Hamar and Shechem are deceitful towards Dinah's family. So these are again all the ways we commonly look at Genesis 34. Jacob abandons Dinah. Dinah is a victim of both Shechem and her own family. And so for Bechtel, she challenges, the common interpretation, and the article challenges traditional readings that portray Dinah solely as a victim, suggesting that alternative interpretations could reveal more about agency and relational dynamics. Justin, I was going to ask you, what do you think agency means? I think that word is so broad, man. Like it means so many stuff. Like,
So just
because I was going.
it's
Oh, go ahead.
oh yeah. Agency is kind of like our ability to make our own decisions,
Okay, yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. I was going to say that. Like, I feel, and I feel like most of the times when we interpret this story, we limit Dinah's agency, right? Like we don't let
Mm.
her make her own decisions and choices. And I think that's what she's trying to say, why she's wrote the way that she did and her approach, like she's giving Dinah her own agency. Like she's letting Dinah make her own decisions. So like we act like she can't do that. And she didn't do that. It
Yeah.
was all Shechem, right? So and that changes the whole interpretation of Genesis 34. So
Right.
all right. Yeah, we're just about to get good. So one of her contributions to scholarship, like a good thing about her article, is Bechtel's contributions to the discourse on gender and violence in biblical text by providing a nuanced reading that encourages deeper reflection on the implications of consent and familia honor in ancient narratives. This approach invites readers to reconsider the roles of the characters involved in the cultural context of their actions. So that's what we're about to do with her article. And then
Mm.
also, if we look at stuff from a feminist perspective in Genesis 34, that changes the context too. So the story becomes a paradigm of many situations of rape in modern society. So that's what we'll see if we look at stuff from a feminist criticism, which we're not going to do for Bechtel's article, right? And so then also, if we look at stuff from a feminist perspective, the story minimizes or ignores Dinah's suffering, together with its exegesis. And then in Genesis 34, if we were to exegese it, it shows both the ancient and modern insensitivity towards women in the experience of rape. So I can't wait to do stuff from a feminist criticism lens, because we're pretty much going to do that with Jessica Ketty's reading when we finally do that one. But let's go ahead and go to this. All right. So on page 20 of Dinah's article titled "What If Dinah Is Not Raped?" Genesis 34, she says this: "But the story stems from a group-oriented society and contains enough contradictions, ironies, and paradoxes and ambiguities to raise the question, does the story really intend to indicate that Dinah is raped?" So that's her whole thesis, right?
Mm.
The problem lies in the fact that what modern society calls rape, so putting our interpretation on the text, is described in several Hebrew texts, but there's no specific term for rape in Hebrew. So apparently rape doesn't exist in Hebrew, especially in that context. Like, and that's what she's gonna to really hone in our point. That's what she's gonna say throughout this article. So consequently, criteria need to be established in order to determine the essence or the absence of rape in Genesis 34. Right. In addition to avoid imposing the assumptions of individual-oriented societies on the text, relevant characteristics of group-oriented society need to be established. So she thinks that if we look at stuff from a group-oriented society approach, then we'll finally see what Genesis 34 is really trying to convey. All right. And let's see what it's just trying to convey. All right. So from a group-oriented society, so defining that, what does it mean? I'm not going to read all that. I'm just going to read this. All right.
Yeah.
What is generally misunderstood about group-oriented society is that people function as individuals and are encouraged to reach their full potential to benefit of the group rather than the sole benefit of the individual. So that's going to be her whole main point of this whole entire article. She's going to try to push and say that Dinah, her actions, and Shechem's actions are to bring two different groups of people who are separate together, like in unity as one. Same thing for Hamar and Jacob. So she sees those people as the heroes of the story. Yeah. And she sees Simeon and Levi as the evil people in the story. All right. And she used different Hebrew words to try to prove that. I'm gonna read this part, but Justin, I know you got something you want to say. You want me to keep on going because now we're getting to the article.
Trying to think. I'm going. I do have something I'm going to say. I'm going to save it for a little later. I want you to keep going though.
All right. So from I'm gonna read this part. So this is just talking about the different Hebrew words to prove her point that's used in the text in the original language of the writing of Genesis 34. So now we return to Genesis 34. In light of our four passages discussed there, does the description of sexual intercourse between Dinah and Shechem qualify as rape? All right. Shechem sees Dinah. So that's one of the Hebrew words. All right. And he takes her, another Hebrew word, lies with her, Hebrew word, humiliates her, Hebrew word. His whole being bonds, all right, another Hebrew word with her. He loves her and he speaks to her heart. So this is all verse 2 through 3. The sexual intercourse involves two unbonded people with no mention of violence on the part of Shechem or a cry for help on the part of Dinah. All right, so that's the whole point. I don't need to read any further. All right, so sexual intercourse of two people unbonded together. So two people coming together who are unbonded, who are separate, but they're coming together to bring a bond of familia or becoming one. So that's how she sees it. She sees it as true love. So only the Jacob people, only Jacob's people are offended by this. So and when she says Jacob people, the Jacobites, she's just talking about Simeon and Levi because she doesn't think Jacob's offended by this, right? And so Dinah and Shechem came to one another. So that's another thing too. Oh yeah, I'm gonna read this part because this is really key. All right, so since Shechem's whole being bonds with Dinah, it is like the situation in Deuteronomy 22, 28 through 29. So from the point of view of the Jacobites, Shechem humiliates Dinah, and there's no rape. So there's no rape here. There's one part I really want to read. I guess it's not right here, but yeah, Shechem and Dinah coming together to become one. So she says, yeah, it's right here. I think it's the next one. She's saying them two coming together is like in a text that says when a husband and wife come together and cleave to each other, then She uses that to mean what she uses that to say, like that's the coming together of Shechem and Dinah. Yeah, let me see if it's right here. Then Shechem takes Dinah when rape is assumed. Scholars claim that, to take designates physical force, yet elsewhere in the story, the Hebrew word for physical force to take has no inherent connotation of physical force. For example, it is often used in the expression to give and take wives, which is a part of proposed giving and taking between the Shechemites and the Jacobites, an interplay intended to foster bonding and cooperation, not carried out by physical force. It is only in the verse 25 to 26 where violence is described as association with taking the sword and killing all the males, and it takes on such a meaning without similar association of force. There's no indication of rape in Shechem's taking of Dinah, right? So, yeah, I want to say this too. So, the author believes there's a give and take between Dinah and Shechem from a group oriented society. It's the Jacobites and the Shechemites coming together. So, it's an interplay of what their actions shows what they're trying to do for the overall group, right? Which is, it's no physical force being imposed here. And she says there's no physical help being imposed because of here, right here. So there's no mention of violence on the part of Shechem or a cry for help on the part of Dinah. And so, yeah, Justin, we've been talking about that a lot in class. So,
Mhm.
like, my class in seminary school is called, let me look at the exact title, because just this class name, you're probably going to want to take the class too. All right, so in seminary school, you got to take a bunch of classes, like things like 78 hours or something. And so one of the classes I decided to take it's an electoral form. It's called Exegetical Explorations of Sexual Violence in the Old Testament.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's okay. So
So
it's
that's,
just about sexual violence.
yeah, in the
That
Old
man,
Testament.
that'd be hard on the heart to have to read through.
Man, that's and so like so this story is not that bad compared to other stories we have to read in the Old Testament,
Yeah,
right? But it's still bad, like because
yeah.
like the whole point of this class is challenging ourselves to look at stuff that the world doesn't want to look at. So with the Jessica Keddy's reading that you're about to read, and we'll do a video on. I love that reading so much because it's like she was basically saying like there's certain stories in the Bible that people avoid because they don't want to have those
Mm,
tough conversations. It's too uncomfortable. But the
yeah,
people who go through that feel the same thing.
right.
So you talking about that helps them to come out and say how they feel, say how say that they've been abused, to actually speak up because there are rapists, the people that raped them and victim and hurt them, they're abusers. Like they already shut them up. Like they already made them feel like they can't speak up and confide in people and trust people, right?
That's funny you say that
Yeah,
because Yao and I just had a conversation today about like, man, like how do we want to teach Cirilla, our my daughter, like the tough truths of the world, and like because like my brother and sister are like on opposite spectrums as far as like watching movies. My brother says you should just let them watch whatever you want and deal with it as it comes, and my sister, I agree with a little bit more. Says like you can't do too much too fast, which I agree, but she may go in the direction of like sheltering them a little bit. So Yao and I do want to like build up little by little and help Cirilla, like not protect her where she never sees those things, because that's impossible. But like equip equip her to like recognize those things too. Like to be able to hear the stories of people that have been through terrible things or people who are broken, because that builds up empathy.
yeah,
Yeah, and that's why I kind of disagree with some of the Bechtel theory, is because yeah, by making it sound like it's between two lovers does trivialize the experience that Dinah had to go through.
right,
And like one big part, like one argument she has is like from a community driven perspective, women are treated as like life givers, so they create the immortality of the group by keep it going. That sounds awesome, don't get me wrong, but that's like so untrue of how it's seen throughout history.
Yeah.
Like women were treated as like secondhand citizens for like even for community driven groups. It's like yes, they play an important role, but they're kind of treated as like they're not treated as important as men. So even if you like romanticize the you romanticize the way they should have been seen, does not mean that's like how it went down. Because
Right.
like back then, like you have to see that women were easily abused back then. So like we do have to recognize that Dinah very easily, like from the context of this, it does sound like Dinah was abused in a way.
Right.
So you can't really use that definition of how community should be to justify what went down.
Yeah.
And another thing I kind of disagree with too is like, I think Jacob was upset just because he didn't take action. Because at the end of the chapter, it shows that Jacob is worried about what Simeon and Levi did, not because that he thought they were wrong, but because of the retaliation that they could do. Like Jacob most likely didn't do anything right away because he was probably fearful of what um I forgot his dad's name, but like
Umar.
yeah, Hamar could do. Um but yeah, it sounds like Jacob really saw that Dinah was defiled and he even says that she's defiled. So it's like maybe that's not to say maybe Dinah had some part like maybe Dinah would didn't accidentally put her like in a bad situation due to I don't know naivety. She was the only daughter, so maybe she was pampered. She didn't know what was going on, so she could have wandered somewhere where she shouldn't have been. But that doesn't take away from the experience, and I don't agree with the author of saying, "Oh, this is how a community should be." So this is like how it should be seen.
Right.
I don't think that's how that works.
Yeah. And she's honestly doing what the narrator's doing in the text. So, like, one thing we're learning in that class, exegetical explorations, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, exegetical explorations of sexual violence in the Old Testament. So, one of the things we're seeing, like, you look at any passage in the Old Testament that talks about rape or somebody's being raped or victimized or something like that. Like, with each story, it's the way that the narrator writes it that makes it seem like it's okay for what happened to them. Because the
Hmm.
biggest thing is like, so one thing her article doesn't do a good job is just focusing on like a woman's experience, like focus on like what's happening with Dinah. Like she's making what happened to her is okay, all right, but like
Mm.
it's really hard to come, not just come with her point of view, but even saying like in the text we read, it said that she was raped, right, in Genesis 34, the New International Version Bible. But in other
Yeah,
texts, it
I
doesn't
actually
say
looked
that.
at that. It's like, yeah, not every version actually uses
Yeah,
the word rape. It's let me look real fast.
yeah, you were looking at that right now, weren't you?
Yeah, because like before this, I let me see how many versions actually use rape. Um,
Verse 2.
man, it's slow. Oh, still a good number. I mean, 20 versions use the word rape, but there's like I don't know, there's like shoot, there's a lot of versions, and maybe like 40 versions. So maybe
Yeah,
like half the versions use rape.
right.
Others use like defile or lay with her by force or
Humiliated
um
her.
yeah, so like more aggressive words. But then
Yeah,
I guess some are more neutral, like had sexual relations or laid with her and was put to shame. So yeah, I guess not all of them use the word rape. So I guess I could see like um where like the ambiguity could be.
right. Yeah, it's just a lot with this. Let's keep on going. 'Cause, I mean, I'm gonna
Yeah.
cover everything, even with us cover like going throughout it. Because like this is what she's trying to say. Like I'm gonna just read it because I want you guys to see it. Because it's crazy to me. Like her takeaway. I'm gonna make this bigger so you guys can really read it. Try and make it look all beautiful, but sometimes when you try to make stuff look beautiful, it don't look beautiful at all. But all right, all right. Can you guys see that pretty good? So
Okay.
so this is still a give and take right here. All right. So she says, I don't know what page this is, but it gotta be like 30 something. But she said so this section is called the image of Dinah to go forth, right? So if Dinah's not raped, how does she function in the story? The image of Dinah revolves around the initial term used for her. She went forth. This is like she's looking at stuff how a patriarchal society looks at things, how misogynistic people look at things. Like, so this is what we were trying to say. To understand the implication of this term, the function going forth has to be studied elsewhere in the story. So Hamar goes forth from his city on a diplomatic mission to talk to Jacob. In verse 24, all the men of the city who go forth from the gate listen to Hamar and Shechem, Simeon and Levi, so there's multiple times when people go forth, right? And so she's saying that Dinah's actions is intentional, like she meant to go out. I don't read it like that. So now Dinah, the daughter of Leah, this is from the New International Version Bible. So now Dinah, the daughter of Leah, had been born to Jacob, went out to visit the women of the land. That gets me right there. She went out to visit the women in the land. She didn't go out to see Shechem. She went out to see the women in the land. So like that's completely denying that part right there, right? So yeah, let me keep on going to the next part. So yeah, so she thinks like, I'm gonna just read it. On page 28, she says the text goes on to emphasize Shechem's bonding with her, his love for her, and speaking to her heart. So speaking to her, for her, and his speaking to her heart, right? So to bond is the same word that is used in Genesis 2:24 to characterize the process of becoming one flesh, a marital bonding that is both sexual and psychological. So that's what I wanted to say earlier. I was looking for that. So becoming one flesh together. So that's what she thinks taking place, a bonding together, like so true love. So, and I'm gonna come back and say this part, but Dinah and Shechem's attempt to establish a reciprocal relationship between two groups of people. So this diminishes the likelihood of rape occurring. And so, yeah, this is when it gets good. All right. So this is the main point of her article. So I'm going to just read this part. For Shechem, Hamar, and the Shechemites, the motive of interaction is to unite, bond, and cooperate. The overall action of Shechem and his community is one of honor. Shechem is described as the most honored in his family. So, like, let's just say, hypothetically, like we saw, like the different versions of verse 2, Justin pointed out. It says that Shechem himself took her and lay with her by force. Humbled her, humiliated her, defiled her. I keep on going. Grabbed her, raped her, and sexually
I mean,
assaulted her.
one of the Hebrew words she used to translate even said it's like humiliated her too,
Right.
or defiled.
Grabbed her, took her by force. And so it said that she even said it. Every difference she didn't say it. The overall action of Shechem in his community is one of honor. What is so honorable? If you gotta force yourself on somebody, what's so honorable about that?
I
How
mean,
is
there
that
are a
love?
bunch of rape stories too of people of power who like use their power to like rape somebody too, and like it's
Mm-hmm.
not unheard of.
Right.
Just because you're in power doesn't mean like you don't do those things. Which I don't know. That's
Mm-hmm.
what it makes it sound like. It's because she's arguing that because he's in like a place of honor, he should have honor. I don't think
Yeah.
that's not always the case.
So like, yeah, I was just gonna say this. So Shechem, he doesn't see anything wrong with what he did. He saw his
Yeah.
act is an act of love. So if this is an act of love, and he's the most honorable in all his society, right? And this is the way you treat women, like to show that you love them. Is that love? Like, what are you kidding me? Like, so and then like the author is just assuming what Dinah thinks. Like, this is love. Like, does Dinah think that? Because that's the whole point. We don't know Dinah's motives. Like, yeah, she went out, but it says like she went out to see the women, right? But it's
Yeah.
on both sides. We don't know if she wanted to see Shechem,
Right.
and then we don't know like if she likes Shechem. So like we can't assume, right? And that's what she's doing. She's assuming, like her actions say, this, like, and so that's a bold statement, a bold claim. I'm not willing to do that with all the stuff, combating against the argument, like saying like, if she if it was true love, you wouldn't have to force yourself. Like that's literally
Yeah.
1 Corinthians 13, right? Love is humble. It's not rashful. It doesn't have to rush. It's patient. Ooh, that's good. It starts off saying love is patient and kind. 1 Corinthians like 4. Yeah, 1 Corinthians 13:4, right?
Hmm.
So like, yeah, like you gotta force yourself, like, yeah, that's not love, man. Like, I mean,
Right.
I'm just keep it at that. I keep on playing with that. So Jacob, she thinks Shechem did not rape her, did not force himself on her, and did not have hostile intentions. But like it literally says in the Greek words, like that's what he was doing. Like even in English in the translations, right? So Shechem is the most honorable person in his family, in his among his people. He's respected like that. But like yeah, that's just okay. I'll stop there. So Hamar and Shechem, the father of Shechem. So they're honorable men in based on this text from the author's perspective. So Shechem, Hamar, and the Shechemites, their motive is to unite, to bond with, cooperate with the Jacobites, Jacob's people. All right. So their community's interaction is one of honor. So yeah, that's crazy. Like to me, actions speak louder than words. So like,
Hmm.
yeah, you gotta be that harsh, that rash, you can't that forceful, like to impose your will on Jesus even said it. What you do to the least of these is what you think about me. It shows if you love me. So like, if a woman is weaker than a man in a certain situation, right, and you abuse that, what does that say about you? Like,
Hmm.
so the author like totally denies this and goes, in a different place. I want to read this part too. Justin, just stop me when you're ready, man. Like, cause
Yeah.
I'm almost done too, by the way. So on page 30, she says this. So the final clue regarding the issue of rape comes in the last sentence of the story. Simeon and Levi say, should he have made our sister like a harlot? Some exegesis point to Shechem's offer of a bride gift, so a mohar or whatever it's called. That's the Hebrew word. I mean, yeah, the Hebrew word. As proof that Shechem has treated Dinah like a harlot, paying her for her service. Yet the text makes plain that Shechem, in asking for Dinah as a wife, agrees to give even more than the customary offering, mahar to the father. Shechem is honoring the customs of the Jacobites and seeking to find favor in their eyes. All right, I'm gonna stop there. So like, you do something wrong, right? To the in the Jacobites' eyes, right? And so, like to the author, I'm not even gonna read the next part, but she was saying like the brothers don't even think that Dinah was treated like a harlot. So a harlot, she says on page 30, a little further, harlots engage in sexual relations for business purposes. There's a mutual consent. So harlots aren't raped, right? So
Yeah.
so she doesn't think that I'm gonna just read it because it's too good. All right, Justin's gonna help you. All right, I'm gonna let you just say something. So their sexual activity is considered marginal because it is conducted outside the bonding and obligation of the marital slash family unit, outside the central social structure of the society. They potentially threaten the cohesion of the sexual structure by saying that Dinah has become like a harlot. The sons of Jacob show that they do not regard Dinah as having been raped. Instead, they are pointing to the fact that she has become a marginal figure by engaging in sexual activity outside her society. Right? That's the whole point. Outside of her society, and without the possibility of bonding, since the sons are unwilling to give their sister an uncircumcised outsider. For them, the relationship threatens the cohesion of the tribal structure. It is this threat that the sons react. So that's the whole point. Like, there's the Dinah's brothers didn't want to interact with or have anything to do with Canaanites, which that's biblical. Like Jesus, even God commanded the Israelites,
Hmm.
not to have anything to do with the Canaanites, not to have anything to do with them. So honestly, they're kind of being obedient, but like, no, God didn't tell you to do what you did.
They went about it the wrong way for
Yeah, and they
sure.
didn't pray and ask, which that's kind of probably what Jacob was doing. Like that's why he was being passive about it, like praying, trying to figure out what God wanted to do. But it didn't say he prayed, so maybe he just didn't care. So that's another way of looking at the text. Like, why didn't Jacob act? Because like it was Leah's daughter. He didn't care about Leah, so obviously he ain't gonna care about Leah's children. So
That's
like,
possible too.
that's another way of looking at the text. So it's just so many ways of looking at it. So
It's
like,
also possible he was scared of the Canaanites as well, didn't want to
mhm,
retaliate. Yeah,
right,
that's it is up to a lot of interpretation.
yeah. But her interpretation, man, like
I
Shepard's,
don't
yeah,
I feel like I feel like the brothers were the brothers were definitely upset. They wouldn't go on this huge male citywide
massacre, yeah.
uh, prosecution if they weren't upset. I feel like they were referring to referring to their sister as a harlot or a prostitute out of anger because Shechem kind of used her like a prostitute, not because they were engaging in a business ca- business transaction of sexual activity out of the bounds of society or whatever. No,
Hmm.
I think they were upset and they because they saw her being used as like a tool, like a prostitute,
Right,
which upset them.
yeah,
I mean that I guess that's my interpretation. It's there's a lot of interpretations that could be going into it, but I don't think we need to read into I don't think we need to read into analogies so deep where it's like, oh, they use the word harlot, which is like a business transaction, and it's like that's a little too far.
yeah, yeah. That's why I think she did a lot of stuff that she
Yeah,
wrote about, man.
that's such a big leap in my opinion.
Yeah, there's a lot of big leaps she took. Like, I want to say this part too, and then this is the end of the article. Did you want to? You have anything else you want to say? Or you want to hear the ending too? Like,
I think I'm good for the ending.
all right, so in her conclusion, I'm trying not to read it, but the villains of the story to her was Simeon and Levi, and the heroes of the story are Dinah and Jacob and Hamar and Shechem. Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna read this part. So Dinah and Jacob, Hamar and Shechem, they're the heroes of the story because they're mediating figures between the Shechemites and the Jacobites. So two different groups of people. Dinah and Hamar both go forth. So both of them go forth. Both of them come together, right? Both of them want this. Both cross their group boundaries. So they're willing to cross their group boundaries to bring people together. So Hamar and Jacob negotiate and compromise. Um, the two fathers, they're willing to negotiate and compromise. They're willing to settle things in an honorable way. At least they try to. And their
Yeah.
aim is to bond, cooperate, and live together. So the solution, is for public, passive, and community bonding and obligation. So Dinah, she has no voice in the whole story, only
Mhm.
action at the beginning. And Jacob, he has no action, only a voice at the end. So like honestly,
Mm.
this is her greatest contribution, like to scholarship. Like it gives a completely different perspective on Genesis 34, and she proves it with Hebrew words and stuff like that. It's just a different way of looking at the text.
I do
Yeah.
appreciate that it does make you think about the context of the this whole thing. I'm
Hmm.
not saying I agree, but yeah, I feel like I appreciate her approach to it, you know?
Yeah. Because I like getting revelations and like seeing text differently than what I have always seen it. Like that's what my goal is anytime I study a Bible passage. But like, yeah, with this one, it's going too far. Like, cause she saw I mean, I agree with Simeon and Levi, like, but she said, Simeon and Levi, they're the villains of the story. Their behavior was threatening and exploitative behavior and deceitful. So if Jacob's actions is commendable, he had the proper group-oriented behavior. So her whole context in her writing is just doing stuff in a group-oriented perspective, doing stuff that's better for the group, doing stuff that's better for the body. Which I mean, that's biblical. We live for the church. We live for God. We do stuff to make sure we don't cause other believers to stumble. So like, yeah, this was good. So Jacobs is inquisitive, passive, dependent on his community, and cooperative. So he cooperates with Hamar, willing to listen to Hamar. And so in a group-oriented perspective, so Jacob, this is an ideal action, ideal way of doing things. So Jacob is willing to include outsiders. Outsiders become insiders. And that's another thing too. I want to say. So most of the time, the common interpretation of Genesis 34, what does light have to do with darkness? What does Israelites have to do with Canaanites? Like nothing. Like God even said, "Stay separate from them." Like so, like that's how most people look at Genesis 34. Like um, they think that the Shechemites wanted to become Israelites so that Satan could get into the body of Christ, right? So Satan could get into God's
Mm.
people. So
Okay.
like that's a no, right? God didn't say like that was okay, but it kind of still happened with the women and children. You know what I'm saying? Because like they didn't kill the women and children; they took them as possessions, like to be
Mm.
used, right? And that's the whole point of this text. Like, how are women treated in this story? Like in Genesis 34, we don't hear Dinah thoughts. We don't know what's going on with Dinah, but the author
Mm.
assumes she knows what's going on with Dinah, so she gives Dinah agency. But there's nowhere in the text that indicates how Dinah feels,
Mm.
right? And also, let's go further than Dinah. Dinah has sisters. I never even knew, Justin, because it doesn't say it in the Bible. But you know, Jacob had daughters, multiple
Yeah.
daughters, and like Dinah was one of them. But like, so how does her sisters feel? How does her mother feel, Leah? How does Rachel feel? Her auntie, you know, Dinah's auntie. Like, we don't hear how any woman feel. They're all silenced. That's a problem.
Right.
Just right there. So like, the author looked at things like the narrator wrote the text, which
Yeah,
that's
that's.
the
I feel
problem.
like that's the big. Yeah, I feel like that's what you just said is like a big evidence against what the author was saying.
Hmm.
Like Bechtel, she was saying like women were like the pinnacle of a group society, which they should be, honestly. Like we're both married, we're both like dads. We both know what our wives have to go through for the childbirth thing.
Hmm.
What she says on what women should be in a group should be true, but like the this text shows evidence that that's not the case because the women get like no voice at all during this
Yeah,
story. You don't know anything about like what happening. Like I tried to read some commentary before this, and there's so many people speculating like what Dinah was doing, but it's like no one knows
right.
because women were not placed at a high position in society back then.
Hmm. Yeah. So like, yeah, this reading was just crazy. Like, out of all the
Yeah.
readings I had to do for class, all my classes actually, like, this is a this is one of the ones that was just like, okay, I don't agree with anything. Like, this is crazy. So I was so happy I found it because I needed
Mhm.
something to go against, like what I'm trying to prove on my paper. You know what I'm saying? Like I with the Jessica Keddy's reading, it was so good. Like it literally
Mhm.
talked about what we just said, like, you know, giving people voices, giving the marginalized voices, giving people voices who are normally silenced in society, a patriarchal society ignores and overlooks and gloss over, when they're talking or when something goes down for them. Like there's people in society that people deny any kind of voice or deny any type of action towards. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
like, yeah, like with this Arthur, she does a good job of reinforcing, just the bad things about our society, like just
Mhm.
uh, ignoring actions of the people superior or people that's better. Like so, just
Right.
ignoring awful actions that happen to little little nobodies, right? And that's just one way of painting it, right? So, yeah, like, and I'll just go ahead and spoil it. In the other reading, Jessica Keddy's reading, like, it was so good because she just wrote about how we read the Bible. And this is how I took it. This is my revelation. So, how we read the Bible really and how we interpret the Bible is literally how the world is going to interpret suffering, or literally how the world is going to approach, you know, injustices. So, like, if
Mhm.
the people in the church ignore certain issues or are afraid to, cover certain issues, or just don't, or the passive about certain issues, like Jacob, then the world will be the same way about certain issues. So that's why when
Mhm.
rape happens or any type of sexual violence, like when that happens, like a lot of that's why people who are abusers or rapists like get away with it, because people in the
Mhm.
church don't take it serious and they don't cover texts that talk about it. So like this is one of the texts that I wonder, have you heard a sermon on Genesis 34 before? Have you heard about the story of Dinah before? Right? And so this Arthur does a good job, but Lynn Bechtel, she does a good job of like just showing like how the world doesn't take serious the issues and sufferings of others.
Mhm.
So especially you look at stuff for a group oriented. See, that's the problem. Like when you look at stuff, that's kind of looking at stuff like you're looking at the whole forest, but you're missing the tree that's in the forest. You see what I'm saying? Like looking at stuff from a group oriented perspective. Like you're looking at the happiness of everybody in the text, but you can't
Mm.
see the suffering of those within the text because like you're so focused on the, I don't want to say the bigger picture. You're still missing what's most important. It kind of goes back to what Jesus said, like the Pharisees, they focus on all these commandments, right? And they focus on the commandments and they add it to the commandments. But Jesus said, man, y'all forgot about the most important thing, which is love, justice, and mercy. Like
Mm.
y'all forsake the most important things for other things. Like, and that's what this author is doing. Like to me, she's focusing on some cool things. Yeah, yeah, sure. But like, what's the most important thing? Loving your neighbor. Loving God. That's the most important thing. If you don't love
Mm.
your neighbor, you're not loving God. So, how is Dinah really being treated? Like to to be forceful on somebody, to humiliate somebody. What is okay with that? Like you can't deny that the text didn't say that didn't happen. It said it.
Yeah,
The
and
word.
it said she was defiled and humiliated. It's like if you she even proved that those words were used from Hebrew. It's like
Mhm.
those are not good words. Like it was not a good thing. Whatever happened, it cannot be seen as a good thing.
And if Shechem approves of it, she's basically on Shechem's side. Like,
Uh,
like what I'm saying? Like, why? Like,
yeah.
what about
And
Dinah?
I do think like that's a problem with a lot of churches nowadays is it we do not we do not get into like the really tough subjects. And if you and that's a big problem because like if we don't hear the tough topics from church, we're going to find out about them in like from movies or um social media or like our culture in general, and that's not a good place to learn about them
Mm-mm.
because we have like I don't know, like our culture is like crazy rampant with like opinions and news everywhere. It's like too much info. And you have and it's unfortunately it's gotten out of control too because you either have people who victimize like man there's when a rape story comes out you have people who victimize the victim. It's like, oh well, they shouldn't have been wearing that or they shouldn't have been there. And like maybe part of that's true, like they need to take care of themselves, but you don't say that. Like that's not what something you say.
Right.
And then you have women unfortunately abusing the system too, who will say, "Oh, he tried to rape me," and then like video evidence shows like no, that's they're just trying to get attention, which is also terrible because then the people who really are the victims, it's like, oh, they're just like trying to get attention. It's like now people are listening to them even less. It's like I don't know. It's like our culture nowadays is not a just culture at all. Like if we're not learning it from the church, we're learning it from a broken system. So the church definitely needs to like focus on more stories like this as well, like Dinah's story.
Yeah.
Because I only read this story because my wife and I were going through the Bible and it was like a coincidence that Sean asked me to like go over this and I said, "Oh yeah, I actually just read that last month." It's like I didn't learn that from church.
Right.
To be fair, my church is really good about not shying away from the hard subjects of like, yeah, God ordered David to kill a whole town. And it's like, oh, that's a tough topic to
Mm-hmm.
talk about. So I do appreciate my church does that. But like all in all, I do feel like our church community does not address it.
Right.
So I didn't mean to go on a rant. It's
Now
just
you
like
good.
something I think
Well,
we can do better. I can do better too, honestly.
yeah. Yeah. I'll also say it. What would be an interesting video? Like one of the topics that we went over in class, and I'm really happy we went over. You know the story of the woman. I don't know what happened to her, but there's another sexual violence story. But like,
Yeah.
it ended with her having her body cut off, different pieces going to the different tribes or
Um,
something like that. You remember that?
really?
Yeah. And
I
like,
don't
I
think
think
I
she
heard
was
of that.
raped. I think she was raped, but like, our class covered it, and like, our teacher asked, like, how would you preach this text? Justin, like, how can you, like, Are you kidding
That's a
me?
tough one, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know. Oh, sorry, I know the story you're talking about. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a tough one. Sorry, that took me a moment.
Like that's stuff I
Ah,
wouldn't even bring up. Like that's the problem. We don't
yeah,
bring it up. Like there's stuff like people's lives are like that, and not covering it and saying something about that's the problem with the world, right? You
yeah.
want to focus on what you want to focus on instead of like the actual issues that people are suffering. Because if you cover issues like that and they've been through it, just having that conversation like helps them, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, this Arthur did a crappy job of helping out anybody that
That yeah,
suffered.
that's the what we got from it.
But you guys, you know the drill. I think we're good. Justin, you good?
Yeah, I think I'm good. You
All
let
right.
me do my rant at the end of the video, so I'm good.
I mean, you had anything else? Go ahead, man.
No, I think, man, I think you helped me hit all the points I wanted to, at least from what I got from it.
All right, cool. All right, so guys, you know the drill. Best social media pages ever. Those are my social media pages. All right, so if you got any questions, you can DM me or Justin on our Facebook page, it's Sean Chris Virginia. We love answering people's questions on social media,
Hmm.
and we'll do a video for you on whatever question you ask. Here goes Justin's Facebook page. Befriend him on his Facebook page, and you mind if I show this picture, Justin? I haven't seen this yet.
Oh yeah, sure. Love that picture.
Yeah, this is his new baby, Cirilla. She's 7. Is she 6 months or 7?
7 months now.
Yeah. All right.
Have I
So
sent you the 7 month pictures? I know I sent you the 6 one.
yeah, I don't think I got 7 months. I haven't got
Oh,
anything
okay, I'll
recent.
send that.
Yeah. But guys, if you enjoyed me and Justin doing videos together, we got way more videos for you guys to watch. All right. So
Mm.
you can go to my our YouTube channel, Uplift Past Crossroads. All right. Subscribe. And then after you subscribe, click the bell so you're notified anytime we upload another video. So this is my YouTube channel. Justin's YouTube channel is Chaplain's Log. Right. So you can watch more videos from us on our channels. But if you want to see more videos on me and Justin specifically, just go to his playlist on my YouTube channel, Justin Lee Howell, and you can watch all the videos in the world that me and Justin do together. So this is our 117th video. We got way more videos in store for you, man, because Justin ain't abandoned me even though he got a kid. So I appreciate it. Just go
No.
down to scroll down to our section, our podcast on Uplift Past Crossroads. You can see way more videos. And if you enjoyed us tackling an article that I'd be reading for seminary school, and you want to see way more videos, check, or you just want to see videos I do with fellow seminarians, like they're gonna be partnering with me in ministry. So check out that playlist, Seminary School. You can get all the book reviews. So me and Justin, we actually did a video covering one of my favorite books we read on.
Oh, I really enjoyed that book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So actually, we covered a few different articles and stuff. So yeah, check out this playlist to get way more of that. So most of the time, guys, I'm not gonna lie, I'll always do a video with Justin when it comes to anything literary and scholarship, because like yeah, he just comes from that cloth. So like he's just good. Even though you don't have your master's degree yet, right? Like, are you planning on getting your master's or doctoral? I never even asked you that.
No, I just have a master's in biomedical engineering. Not
Yeah,
like,
I
huh?
didn't know you had a master's.
Oh yeah, I had to go. Well, I got it. I was able to like skip a year, so I got it in the same amount of time as like an undergraduate.
Oh wow, I didn't know that, man.
That's something else though. But I mean, I don't have anything related to like seminary or divination or anything.
I mean, you still got a master's, so it's still the
Yeah.
same. Still papers, right? You had to write a
Oh
lot of.
man, I had a oh man, I because I finished early though, I had a professor who was like, "Oh, that didn't count." And it's like I did the same amount of work. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
not bitter about it.
I got a master's, a master's person. I didn't even know. I didn't even know. All right, but that's me and Justin, man. For you guys enjoyed the video. We got way more videos in store for you guys, man. You have a good one. God bless you. Happy Friday. Good Friday.
It is Friday.
Good
Oh,
Friday.
Good Friday. Yeah.
Yeah. And happy Easter. All right. Talk to you guys later.